So apparently, I've been gone from the game for so long that Nova has decided to stop making video game related content and board game related content and Nova esque related content and to start doing Force of Will. So I guess uSpotGaming is now a Force of Will channel. So welcome to uSpotGaming brings Force of Will, but not Nova doing it. It's your boy. It's your boy, your man even. It's your man, Master Fija, the master of apparently ugly. I have no idea. I have no idea what is going on in Force of Will right now. I am so ridiculously out of it. I've been gone for work for so long that I've literally had a Reiya deck waiting to be recorded and to be posted for so long. This is like July. And at the time that I'm recording this, it's like a few days to Halloween 2018. That my deck, even though it was like awesome, ready to go in summer 2018, is actually technically Wanderer now. Because with the release of New Dawn of Valhalla or whatever, my cards, I don't know, like a third of the deck are from Lapis Cluster. So this deck is technically Wanderer, but that's just because I was gone for so long, I didn't have an opportunity to record it. And I actually feel super bad about this because I made this big deal about like, oh yeah, I've got like two big Reiya decks that I want to record and show you guys on my Reddit account, and here we are, post rotation of Lapis Cluster, and I'm just recording it right now. So this is my Reiya Wanderer deck, though it's not made to the caliber of a usual Wanderer deck because usual Wanderer decks are crazy broken janky, but this is literally just a deck that has cards that just recently rotated. So this is my New Frontiers slash it is definitely Wanderer deck. So I'm gonna try to update it eventually, and I did get a couple of boxes of the new Valhalla stuff, and the only starter deck I bought was the Darkness one, which is a whole other barrel of fun that I'm gonna get into later. You can tell by the tone of my voice that I'm a little bit less than enthused, but whatever. On a positive note, other than maybe some of the utility of the new dual Darkness deck that I bought, I think that Force of Will is actually starting to listen to their fans and to their players because there's a lot of stuff so far with the release of the first new set of the block and the decks that they've done right. I'm still kind of peeved that the boxes that the cards, the booster boxes that the cards come in, is still kind of like not super good quality, but I mean you can't win everything. Anywho, this is my favorite rendition of my Reiya deck, and it has the final version of Reiya that has all of her unlocked abilities as the ruler for it. Though I have to say that I find the ruler side of Reiya, the first version that was released, way cuter. I like this version of the ruler side more so than this version, but I like this version of the J ruler side more so than this version. So, I'm not going to get into too much with what Reiya does because I'm sure that by now everybody knows what she does. So yeah, it's my mostly discard and works around the Dark Alice from Lapis Cluster kind of Reiya deck. Alrighty, I run 4 of the amazing one-drop chant Dark Knight Butterfly, and I've got a full art here, 3 normal of that version, and then the version that actually came with the deck itself. And I know that Nova needs a few of these, so I'm gonna give him some because I've literally got like tens of these things. Anyway, I run 4 of the Dark Knight Butterfly, which is a mystery chant, it's not quick cast, with the following ability. Your opponent discards a card. If this card was awakened, your opponent discards 2 cards. So if you get the proper combination, you have 2 of these things in hand. You start off with 3 mystery counters on her, 1 from her first ability, and then 2 from her second ability. If the first stone you get from the stone deck, going second, so you've got the Energize, is one of her stones from the Dark Castle, then you'll have 4 mystery counters available and 2 mana to burn with the Energize. You can pop off 2 of these things and essentially cripple your opponent first. Well, you're going second, but first of your turns, and they're down to 1 card in hand. It's pretty gnarly. So I run 4 of the Dark Knight Butterfly. In my opinion, still one of the best make your opponent discard cards currently in rotation. So, yeah. I run 4 of the phenomenal chant from Winds of the Ominous Moon, Resuscitating Will. We got a beautiful full art here, and it's an aura chant, quick cast this time, recover target J/Resonator. You guys will see why this is super important for this deck. It's honestly just a phenomenal card. You can swing 2 times to win, and it's J/Resonator. So if you get Reiya to her flip side, where she is a 12/12 flyer, and you swing twice for 24, like that's GG. So I run 3 of the Resuscitating Wills. I run... How many do I run here? I run 3. And you got a little sneak peek of the next card. I run 3 time reversals, 2, count them, 2, in beautiful full art. And now it's a 1-drop. Unfortunately, it's not quick cast, but whatever. It's a 1-drop chant with draw a card and put a mystery counter on your J ruler. And it's got the Awakening. Remove 3 mystery counters, which, again, with how you start with her unlock abilities, is really not that difficult to pull off. Remove 3 mystery counters from your J ruler. At the next end of turn, recover all entities you control. So that's another more of those untapped, janky, crazy combinations where, I mean, you've got blockers for days. Just blockers for days. Now, this is one of the main reasons why I run Resuscitating Will in this deck, aside from just, you know, untap big baddie, swing to win. And it is a 2 light will cost Resonator, Fairy Tale Fairy, with flying and drain. And I got 2 full arts here, and a regular art. And it's called Grimia's Fairy, also from Winds of the Ominous Moon. It's a 5/5 flyer with drain. You buff this thing with a card I'm going to show you later. You swing, hit for whatever, 5, 10, whatever. You untap, hit again. You just hit him for 10, potentially 10, 20, whatever. And you just gain that much in life. So you're always going to be 1 step ahead in terms of life of your opponent. And the way that I'm showing the deck right now isn't necessarily all in order of cost like I usually do, because I separated between cards that are currently in rotation and cards that I'm going to have to replace in the deck when I make it New Frontiers playable. I run 2 of the Journey to the Future of a card that's actually really cool. I love the color palette, but I absolutely hate the art style. I just hate it. That's it. I hate this art style. So it is a 2-drop chant for 1 light and 1 darkness that has the following ability. Draw 2 cards, then if your J ruler is Reiya, which she is, you gain 100 life for each card in your hand. Now this deck has a crazy amount of life gain, a crazy amount of drawing, so you're going to get like pretty good returns from the proccing of that ability. The next kind of block in this deck that has that drawing mechanic that I was talking about, and this is the only... Did you guys draw a lot of these when you open your boxes, the full art blood sprays? Because I think I opened like 3 or 4 boxes of Advent... No? What is that? ACN? I guess that's Ancient Knights. Of Ancient Knights, and I only ever pulled 1 full art blood spray. So, anyway, I run 3 of this Mystery Chant for 2 darkness. Draw 2 cards. This card deals 300 damage to you. And you have to remember to do the second part of that first ability. A lot of people forget to take 300 damage, so... And it has the Awakening. Remove 1 mystery counter from your J ruler. Destroy target Resonator with total cost 2 or less. So you draw 2 cards. You take 300, whatever. You're gaining so much life. You don't even care anyway. And you're pretty much field controlling. And most decks have a curve of 3 or less. So even with the new cards, this is just quality for days. I run 3 of the blood sprays. Now, I run 4 of the amazing... I love the art on this card. I absolutely love the art on this card. A lot of people... coughing a little bit there. A lot of people made the joke that this looks like the end of Gurren Lagann when they're fighting the... what is it? Counter drill people or whatever in space. The anti-axial or whatever they are. Anti-coil. And that's what the dude on this here looks like, and that's Gil Alphamat just zapping him with a crazy, like, Nega Kamehameha. Oh, Lord. So it's a 2-drop quick cast chant, historical, though. I mean, this is the only historical card I run in the deck, so you don't have to worry about that. For 1 darkness and 1 light, and it has the ability to just destroy target Resonator. Like, a 2-drop, just destroy quick cast. Now, how psyched are you guys and gals for the promo version of this card that's going to come out in November? I'm actually legitimately giddy for so many reasons. I run 3 of this next card, which is Naughty Child's Chastising, and all of them are in gorgeous full art. It is a 1 light and 1 colorless quick cast chant with destroy target resonator that is attacking you. You gain life equal to its attack. Another instance of field control, and you bait your opponent into wasting an attack, wasting a resonator, and if you play your cards right, you just gained a lot of life. Now we're getting to the portion of the deck that is going to get rotated, and we're getting a little dark here, so I'm going to turn on a little bit of light, get Reiya out of the way there. I run 3 of Scorn of the Dark Alice, but I'm going to have to get rid of this card soon. One of them in gorgeous full art from the Fingal 4, I think it was, Fingal 3 or 4. And first editions from the first set it came out in, which is the Twilight Wanderer. Yeah, I'm sure you guys all know what it does, but it is a chant speed, not quick cast. Look at your target opponent's hand and choose a resonator. They discard that card. There is a new card in this new set that's like a little bit better than Thought Control, but because it's a rare, I only managed to pull 2 of them. So if I do update this deck, I'm going to either need to get 1 more from Nova or Teacher or Dayman, or maybe bump up this card slot to 4 and put 4 in. But I want to keep the discard mechanic, because the discard mechanic is actually very important in this deck. And speaking of which, here's another one of the cards I'm going to be rotating out, but I'm going to have to change the dynamic of the deck a little bit because this is the resonator that the deck's built around. It's Dark Alice, Manifestation of Rage. She is a 2-drop 5/5 Wanderer resonator from Echoes of the New World, which was the last set of Lapis Cluster. She's Will of Hope, doesn't really matter, with the following super mega thesis sized ability. When this card enters the field, remove all resonators in your opponent's graveyard from the game. For each resonator removed this way, put a 1/1 counter on this card. When this card leaves the field for a non-field zone, put a 1/1 Darkness Shadow Resonator token into your field for each 1/1 counter on this card. Release the seal abilities of darkness cards and spells you control. So I ran 3 of this bad girl, and because of all the discard, and specifically Scorn of Dark Alice that was just shown, you're guaranteed to get at least 4 or 5 counters when she hits the field. And then one of the cards I actually have in sideboard that a lot of the times I used to actually main in the deck works really well with having a lot of resonators on the field. And I'll show you guys when I get to the sideboard. But of course, if I'm running the Dark Alice resonator, I'm going to be running her best card, which is Neo Shadow. Oh my goodness, what is with my voice today? Neo Barrier of Shadows, a 2-drop addition for 1 darkness and 1 colorless. Your opponent pays 1 more to play activate abilities of resonators you control, which is phenomenal for slowing your opponent down. And of course, when Dark Alice is on the field, the seal 8 is broken, which gives it the additional ability of your opponent cannot play activate abilities, which really shuts down J rulers with crazy abilities like Keurig, for example. Or, I mean, it doesn't really affect the new rulers that much. I don't think too many of them have activate abilities. They're mostly just enter the field abilities. Then, to buff up the Dark Alice and to put more 1/1 counters on her, I run 3 of the 2 Dragon Princesses. Another card from Lapis Cluster, which is from the set of Return of the Dragon Emperor, one of my favorite. It is a 2-drop quick cast chant for 1 light and 1 darkness, which has the following ability. Choose one. If you control a light J/resonator and another darkness J/resonator, you may choose both. Put 5 1/1 counters on target resonator, or target J/resonator gains -5/-5 until the end of turn. Ideally, if you have one of Grimia's Fairies on the field and you also have your Reiya already flipped onto her J ruler side, or a Dark Alice on the field, when you play this, you get the 1/1 counters onto Dark Alice and you give something -5/-5. I am actually going to miss this card quite a bit because it has a ton of utility, but I'm already thinking of the card I want to use to replace it. So I run 3 of those. And then the last 3 cards in the deck, and the last 3 that I'm going to have to rotate out, unfortunately, and 3 cards of a 4-card set that I bought from a box, a booster, a deck box, which was the original Millium deck from back at the beginning of Lapis Cluster, and I literally bought the deck for this and one other card. This card, of course, being Manifestation of Power. I run 3 of them. It's a 1 light and 1 colorless quick cast chant with the following ability. Choose 1, recover target resonator you control, draw a card, or destroy target addition. This is the only card in my deck that destroys additions, which were actually a huge problem in Reiya Cluster. And I mean, I guess they still are now, but I haven't seen too much of them in the new builds. And it is another one of those untapped cards, which is phenomenal, especially if you're buffing up Grimia's Fairy and just going to town with it. Yeah, that's the entire deck. So let's get into sideboards. Sideboards, actually, this sideboard is the exact same sideboard that I had from my Reiya deck that I posted way back in the day. And by way back in the day, I mean like 4 months ago or whatever. I run 3 of the Jeanne d'Arc Mad Maiden, which, like, realistically, I think I might just mainboard once I kind of give this deck a facelift. Or I just gear this whole deck towards maybe running it under a Lich deck or maybe under a Lucifer deck. So I run 3 of Jeanne d'Arc Mad Maiden. Another card that I'm going to have to rotate out, unfortunately, is the amazing, the infamous Blood of Mikage. I run 3 of them. Oh, and of course, Jeanne d'Arc, a Maiden of Madness. She's a J killer. Like, she's a J ruler killer because she doesn't do damage regularly. She does it in -1/-1 counters. So you just freaking go to town, you body into your opponent's J ruler, and then she can't die as long as you have, what is it? Cannot be destroyed as long as you control 3 or more J/Resonators, so including herself. If you have 2 J/Resonators on the field, she's indestructible. And even if she has -1/-1 counters on her or damage that exceeds her 500 defense, she still stays on the field. So, oh, and I found out from Dayman that apparently the -1/-1 counter she would give to a J ruler when it bodies into it, it doesn't like disappear once it goes back to its J ruler side, or back to its ruler side. Even if they J activate again, it's still there. So it's just like an insta kill. So yeah, 3 of those. 3 Blood of Mikage, which is target J/Resonator you control gains +8/+8 and precision until the end of turn. And at the next end of turn, destroy it. But if you use this with Jeanne d'Arc can't be destroyed if you've got 3 or more J rulers on the field. And giving her precision lets her body into the opponent for 15 -1/-1 counters, like the opponent's J ruler, or even just hit the opponent for 15. Then I run 3 of the phenomenal 1-drop light quick cast chant, Wings of Gold. Winds, not wings, my god. Winds of Gold, which has the following ability. You may pay 1 less to play this card if you control a card named Ra of the Golden Bird. Ra, the bird gold bird chicken, golden chicken Ra, which I don't run in the deck, so that does not affect us in the slightest. But it has the ability target J/Resonator or yourself gains barrier until the end of turn. Now, the reason why I run this card as opposed to several other cards that have similar costs and effect is because it gives you the option to also choose yourself as the target of a barrier, which could be make or break when you're going up against a really good burn deck or one of those like 1-turn knock you out kind of decks. So I run 3 of those. Those are still in rotation, which is nice, so I don't actually have to take those out. Then the next card I run are 3 of the Separation of Fates. Unfortunately, I wasn't around to be able to get the promos of this. Oh, the promos are so nice. But it is a 1-drop quick cast chant from Time Spinning Witch. With the effect, target J/Resonator loses all abilities until the end of turn and you draw a card. So it's self-replacing, going into more of the draw mechanic in this deck. And it could potentially give you the ability to take out a Resonator or stop a Resonator that's just been causing you way too much grief because of its ability. The last block of cards in this sideboard is 0 the Knights, 0 the King's Blade, and maybe one day I, Master VJ, will learn how to read, but today is not that day. It is a 2 light will cost 6 Sages Resonator, 6/6, Will of Hope, doesn't matter. Quick Cast, which is pretty cool, I guess. Your opponent cannot draw more than one card each turn. And Resident Energy Control cannot be returned to their owner's hand. Now, originally when I put this as a card slot in the deck, I was thinking more along the lines of dealing with things like Shayla's Return Back to Hand, or decks that just have turbo amount of drawing. I mean, it is just like a really good card, and the art on it is phenomenal. But again, unfortunately, because it is from Echoes of the New World, which was the last set of the previous block, which has just been rotated, I am going to have to take this out of my deck. Stones. Stones are also kind of broken now because most of the stones in my 10. Wow. 10 stone. This is, okay, I'm going to nickname this Master Fija's Reiya Can't Speak deck profile. My 10 stone deck, unfortunately, has 6 of the stones getting rotated right now. I have 4 of the Magnificent Stone from the Dark Castle, which gives you a mystery counter and taps for darkness. I run 4 of those. I ran 2 of the Ancient Magic Stone, which taps for light or darkness and burns you for 300 because I don't run Gil Alphamat as the ruler. And of course, 4 Magic Stone of Heaven's Rift. Just so you guys can kind of see, these are getting rotated, these are staying in. I was actually just talking to Teacher the other day, and we were talking about how it would be sick if at some point Force of Will Co. decides to extend their New Frontiers like allowed list to allow 3 blocks as opposed to only 2 blocks, and rotating out a block every single year. Because, like, I mean, this card game is starting to get more expensive, and it just feels like, with how often I'm out of town for work, it just feels like a year passes so quickly. And then by the time I've got a sick deck, it'll maybe be playable for like 2 or 3 months that I'm actually in town. And then I have to take out like a third of the deck and most of the stones because, oh hey, let's not make any reprints of the dual stones. Which I'm still going to call your bluff right now, Falco. I don't believe that you're going to stick to that. I think second or third set, you are definitely going to reprint dual stones in one capacity or another. Because the dual stones that came out in Reiya Cluster are just too like situational. They're not reliable like the dual stones that came out in Grim and that were reprinted in Lapis Cluster. So this is the deck that is Wanderer right now, and I'm going to work on it to get it modern. I'm sorry guys, I know it's way too late. This was a deck that I promised that I would post like 4 or so months ago. But here it is, ta-da! My Reiya crazy gain life, draw card, discard card, opponent, kill deck build. Yeah!